Let's go to Tehran and speak to Hossein Sheikholeslam, who is an Iranian politician, also a former advisor to the Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. Hossein, thank you so much indeed for your time. When you meet people on the streets of Tehran, do they complain about how the sanctions are hurting them?
Good evening. There is no doubt that the sanction slows the economy, increases the expenses of living, inflation. It decreases the rate of the development, but it cannot change our will. It cannot break our determination. We have learned to live with sanctions from the beginning of the revolution. The problem is that they have against us in different time. Remember the success of the revolution. We started the sanction. The question of the U.S. embassy takeover when they allowed the Shah in, it was sanctions. We learned during the war, it was a sanction. The war that was imposed by Saddam against our people, it was sanctioned. But we all determined, we learned how to change the live, and we have learned how to produce our essential needs. Yes, there are times we have to do harder, especially in some of the medicine. For example, we produce 95% of our medicine ourselves, but the 5% is important. It's the life of the people. There are people who died because of the sanctions of very special diseases that we didn't produce inside, but it's still. Especially the children. This is the main and the most important thing. But at the whole, we have learned how to live with sanctions. Especially, we produce a lot of our goods ourselves inside Iran, and we have good neighbors. We have 15 neighbors. We can go around the sanction the way that we have did it so far. We are not going to surrender. We are not going to change our determination by the sanction.
Hossein, I completely understand that the government's point of view is that it will not bend to the will of the United States and the Trump administration while the Trump administration is sanctioning Iran. But the reality is that even in the past few years, twice at least, Hassan Rouhani, the president, has spoken to the people of Iran. And I think the most recent warning that he gave the people of Iran is that we have to stay together in the face of the economic hardship we're experiencing. I'm paraphrasing his words. And he said, economically, we are facing the toughest test since our war with Iraq. So while the government may have this idea of trying to bring people together and hoping that they are on board with the idea that confrontation with the United States should continue in terms of not doing what the U.S. wants, what about those people who have been protesting on the streets? You know, a couple of years ago when there were some demonstrations, people were saying to the government, why are you spending all your money in Lebanon? Why are you spending all your money in Syria? Why are you spending your money in Iraq? You should not be spending money there. You should be spending it on us. So the people do feel that the government needs to do more for them, don't they?
There is no doubt that Iran is a free country. Everybody can express himself the way he wants to, the way it is believed. The one who decides finally is the government because it is democratically elected. We have parliament, we have voting, and we are going to change this parliament in 1 month. Then it's going to be new election. Everybody is free to express himself. What is important is the overall. The number of, for example, the number of people who came to the street to support Iranian position on resistance by the killing, martyring Mr. Soleimani, the General Soleimani, is real Iran. Not a number that are anyway, they have their own view. They have their own reasons why we shouldn't support the resistance. But all of those who came to the funeral or had meetings to support resistance, you can see them in the funeral of Mr. Soleimani. Tens and tens of millions, not in Iran, but outside Iran too. In India, in Pakistan, in Turkey, in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, in Lebanon, in Palestine. Yes, Iran is a free country. Everybody can express his view, but the government and the parliament decides according to the majority. And a full, very good number of people express their views, and you have to judge what Iran thinks on this issue. All of them said that to the America. All of them that to the America. Even in the parliament of Iraq, in the parliament of Iran, in an official place, usually don't say these things. So you should see who is Iran, who are the majority, who says what. But anyway, we have people who are against. There are people who say that we have to have good relation with America. But what is the number? When everybody says that to the America, there are some people who say, no, we have to have good relation with America.
Okay, Hossein, we may lose...
The important thing is
Hossein,
what the majority wants.
Hossein, we may lose the satellite connection with you, but
yes,
we're trying to extend it. If you are still with us, let's look at Iran's revenue from oil exports.
Yes, I am.
Okay, in January 2018, Iran was exporting about 2.3 million barrels of oil every day. And then the US reimposed sanctions, and Iran's daily crude oil exports, they fell to 1 million per day in April last year. In October of last year, so just a few months ago, Iran was mostly producing for its own domestic consumption. It was only able to sell abroad 260,000 barrels a day. How does the government of Iran make up for that loss of revenue? Isn't that almost impossible?
It is possible. We have done it. We are right now in the parliament, have given a new budget. This budget is implemented according to the level of export that we have right now. This is a matter of budgeting. We are going to other sources, especially, I'm saying, yes, the sanction affects, the sanction slows the economy, the sanction slows the development, but it cannot reach to the point that we change our decisions, which we change our wills, we change our determination. And this is not new. By the way, there are some people that they believe sanctions are good for Iran because we will go towards self-sufficiency. We are going to produce whatever we need inside. Of course, I told you we have 15 neighbors: Turkey, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Iran is in a place that can produce many things and import and export with all of the neighbors. It is not that hard that they try to make it. The news media, especially the Western news media, they are trying to say that everybody is dying in Iran. You see, if we had problem, we wouldn't have so many supporters. We will have an election and you will see the number of people who come to the poll. I promise you it will be more than normal in the world, democracy, or with what we see in past in Iran.
Okay. Hossein, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it. Hossein Sheikholeslam speaking to us from Tehran.